Hi everyone, hola a todos, my name is John Berrocal, I'm a Chief Experience Officer for Gadventures. I am originally from a little town in the north of Spain, in the Basque Country, but I have already 4 years and a half working in Central America and Mexico, in a total of 7 countries. I have been with more than 800 travelers and I've done over 70 tours. So I love traveling with all my heart. Traveling is my biggest passion. I know that it is unfortunate times that we are not really able to travel, but a traveler is always thinking in the next destination, in the next trip. So today I am here to share with you a virtual orientation walk of Antigua in Guatemala, one of the most beautiful colonial cities in the whole Central America. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be walking together through the streets of Antigua. We're going to be able to see some historical landmarks. We're going to be able to talk about a few facts, cultural fun facts. We're going to be definitely going to the local market, one of the highlights of the city. And as well, we're going to be having some foodie moments. I love food with all my heart, so I hope that you guys enjoy this tour. So you guys are ready? Fasten your seatbelt because we are about to take off. So vamos, let's start. So we're gonna start in the Lemon Tree Hostel. Lemon Tree Hostel is a locally owned hostel, has a beautiful inside patio, and you usually stay there whenever starting tours or ending tours in Antigua. So if we continue, as I would love you guys to take a look to the beautiful colors of the buildings as we are walking through. That's one actually of the highlights of Antigua. And as well, take a look to the paved stone, okay? Like these stones, actually, most of them come from the foundation of the city. So it's very unique to walk around at this beautiful city. So we're going to start with Cafe Sky, which has the coolest, my favorite rooftop in town to get to see the 3 volcanoes that surround Antigua, okay? Antigua is in an elevation of 1,470 meters above the sea level. So then after pointing south, we would find Agua Volcano, okay, which has a total of 3,766 meters high. Then after pointing west, we would find Acatenango Volcano, which is almost 4,000 meters. And then after, we would have Fuego Volcano, which is 3,763 meters above the sea level. And guys, it's one of the most active volcanoes in whole Central America. So I would recommend you guys to go to the Sky Cafe to catch the sunset, get some drinks and listen to some chill music while the sun is coming down. And then after, like the big spectacle whenever it's a clear day and you can get to see it, is get to see the lava like pouring and see all the eruptions from Fuego Volcano in the darkness. It's a total spectacle, I would never miss that. But let's move on our orientation walk. But first of all, I want you guys to take a look to this little kiosk in here. This man does every day fresh squeezed orange juice. It is super tasty and it's very affordable. Every time that I pass by there in the mornings, I definitely grab a juice to go. Okay, so for those that like fresh orange juices in the morning, like that's the spot. But anyways, as we were promising, let's talk about Tanque de la Unión. So what is a Tanque de la Unión? It was actually like a laundry place that was built back in the days, okay? So back in the days, obviously there were not these fancy laundry machines that we can have at home, so people still had to do laundry. So the way to do it was actually coming to the public, coming to the street, do the laundry themselves, and then after bring it back home. And as well, for the legend lovers and myth lovers, this is the place where still nowadays it is said that you can hear and you can see La Llorona, or the crying lady. So now we're going to be continuing on our orientation walk. I want you guys to take a look to this one in here, the tuk-tuks, okay, or the mototaxis. So going in a mototaxi ride, in a tuk-tuk ride in Antigua is definitely one of the highlights of this city, okay? Because of the paved stone, it became like quite a bumpy ride, but there's few things that are more local to go on a tuk-tuk in Antigua. It's very cheap, it's super interesting thing, and can take you like on a ride on the city. And for the motor lovers, a little tip here, if you're really interested, you could even get to drive one through the city. So if anyone would be thinking on that, it will be my pleasure to help you out. But let's continue with our orientation walk because we are about to arrive to our first foodie moment that I know that you guys can't wait for it. And to be fair, I can't wait neither. Okay, so let's talk about Rincón Típico. Okay, so Rincón Típico, it's a traditional restaurant where you can actually find some of the most traditional dishes from Guatemala. But I would point one precisely here, which is the roasted chicken. People in Guatemala love to eat roasted chicken. You can find it in many other places, but to me this one is the one that has the best one. In a very affordable price, something less than $5 US, you can actually get like a big portion with the natural juice from the day. And as well, I want you guys to take a look to this lady in the front. She's actually cooking fresh corn tortillas, and that happens every single day. Okay, so like actually she's cooking it in a traditional pot which is called the comal. Okay, so basically this pot in here has wooden fire in the bottom, okay, that hits that iron plate that you guys can see on top. Okay, so that's where like the tortillas are cooked. So every time that you will go to Rincón Típico, you guys will have actually fresh corn tortillas every single day. So moving on in our orientation walk, we're going to be arriving to the first University of Guatemala, and actually one of the first ones in the whole Latin America, okay, which is the San Carlos University. So San Carlos University was founded in 1676, and as we were saying, like loads of students came from all over Central America to do their university studies here. But nowadays it is host for the Colonial Art Museum. So for those interested in culture and art, like this is the place where you guys are gonna be able to find some of the biggest like treasures from the Spanish colonial times. So now that we are continuing, we're gonna be actually arriving to definitely one of the highlights of Antigua, which is the Central Plaza. So what do we have here in the Central Plaza? So first of all, we would be facing the one that it is known as the Cathedral of Antigua, the Cathedral of San Jose, which actually, if you guys want to, we can go inside and take a look. So the Cathedral of San Jose, actually the interesting fact is that nowadays it doesn't have the official category of cathedral anymore. So because of some earthquakes that happened back in the days, like actually the cathedral was demolished a few times. So since those times, it like actually lost the category of cathedral. But still, as we were saying, it is known as the Cathedral of Antigua. It's a very beautiful building. Actually, there's like masses every single day almost. You guys can go inside, take pictures, like always obviously in a very respectful way, but it has a very beautiful atrium, and it's like one of the most interesting religious spots nowadays in the whole Antigua. Okay, so that was one of the spots here in the Central Plaza. Then after we move forward, and actually, well, it's going to be pointing north, we'll have the Town Hall of Antigua. But later on I would love to give you a little tip. And as well, then after pointing south, we would have Palacio de los Capitanes, or the Palace of the Captains, okay? But as we are in the Central Plaza, I would love you guys to go to the center of it, and then after take a look to this fountain right here, which is known as the Fountain of the Sirens. And there's actually two different theories of why this is known as the Fountain of the Sirens, okay? The first one will take us to Italy, to Bologna, to the city of Bologna, where there's, it is said that it's a replica of the Neptune statue. And the second one, and as well for the myth lovers, it is related to one of the legends of the city. So once again, for those interested on these legends, it will be my pleasure to talk about that these next following days. But as we are already in the Central Plaza, let's talk a little bit about the history of Antigua, which actually it is not the original name. So Antigua was founded in 1542, okay? And the original name was Santiago de los Caballeros, coming from the name of the patron of the city, okay? And actually was the capital since the foundation in 1542 till 1776. But it was not just that, it was the epicenter culturally, business-wise, commerce-wise, religiously, okay? And it was a city that was growing and growing and growing non-stop. So how is that possible that a city that was growing so much stopped being the capital of a country, right? It was because of the earthquakes that we were talking about, guys. There's been so many earthquakes on the history of Antigua, but the biggest ones happened in 1773, okay, known as the Santa Marta earthquakes, and there were actually 3 of them in the same year. After the 2 first ones, Spaniards still decided to continue on the city, but after the 3rd one, and actually the biggest one, the city was destroyed and demolished. So then after the Spaniards decided that it was already time to move their capital and their epicenter of business to another place, which actually they moved it to nowadays known as Guatemala City, that is 45 kilometers away from Antigua. Antigua was abandoned in 1778 and actually was downgraded from city to town, okay? But it was in 1824 where the city, where Antigua got the category of city again. Why was that? Well, in 1821 there was a very, very important moment for not just Guatemala, for almost the whole Latin America. And it's when actually Guatemala and most of the countries in Latin America got independence from Spain. So after that, in the next following years, like some 3 different parish churches were established again in Antigua. So important religious people started coming. So as well on the hand by hand, like some other important businesses started flourishing, commerce started flowing. So then after people started like bringing life to Antigua again. Till the moment that in 1979 it became a UNESCO Human Heritage Site. And nowadays it can be said that Antigua is one of the most visited places of Guatemala. As we were promising, let's talk about a little fact of the town hall, okay, we have right here. So in weekend times, in these corners that you guys see right there, there's a marimba band playing, which is a national instrument of Guatemala. It's something like a xylophone. So the band stays there, plays their music, so locals go and make their dances and have some nice time. For those that like folklore, is one of the things that I would never miss whenever going to Antigua. It's actually very, very beautiful. As we're going as well, I would love to share a little tip with you guys. So like actually it's not known from so many people, but like in the light posts in Antigua, in some of them you can get to see the Coca-Cola sign. So why that would be, right? So when Antigua was trying to establish their electrical light post system, they did a deal, they did an agreement with Coca-Cola where in the very beginning, Coca-Cola would be able to set these billboards on the streets and as well have the plaque of Coca-Cola in the light posts, okay? And they would pay for the electricity light posts, okay? So whenever the electricity light posts were like set in a city, like at Antigua Town Hall, still remained a few Coca-Cola signs in the light posts, but they refused to put billboards to maintain, like because of the UNESCO Human Heritage Site, to still maintain the vibes of the city. Okay, so that's a little fact about why Coca-Cola signs in such a beautiful city light post. So we will start with Mercado de Artesanías. So Mercado de Artesanías is actually where you can find any kind of traditional textiles like wallets, bracelets, any kind of shirt, t-shirt, always in traditional, super colorful textile or leather. You can find paintings as well, traditional paintings. So it's definitely a great spot, but it's very, very important that you guys learn how to bargain, okay? So for those interested on that, it will be my pleasure to talk about that as well these next following days. But we're going to be continuing our walk through Antigua, to our local market, as well. Just picture that you're walking around here, like just imagine like Guatemala is a very, very loud country. So just imagine like all the noise, like all the different voices around, how alive this market is. It's absolutely amazing. It is one of the most bizarre places in Antigua, but it's definitely worth to check it out. We're going to be arriving to one of my favorite spots of the local market, which is all the fruit area. In here you guys are going to be able to find some of the most delicious fruits that you're going to be able to try. Okay, I would like to talk about two of them which are actually local from here. Okay, I would love to talk about the jocote, which is a tiny fruit that is like green, and then after, whenever it gets mature, it gets red. Okay, it's super rich in vitamin Z. It has an explosion of taste whenever you eat it, and actually it helps with the immune system. And then after as well, there's zapote, which is very rich in magnesium, and it actually helps with cardiovascular diseases. But not to talk about the mangoes, about the pineapples, bananas, a watermelon. They're amazing. It's some of the best fruits that you are gonna be able to try. And whenever you wanna go to the market, actually, you are able to do like a fruit tasting. The ladies there and the sellers are gonna help you out with that. Okay, and as well, let's go with a very bizarre place, which is the chicken bus station. So the chicken bus station is where the public buses stay here, okay? But what do you mean a chicken bus, right? Like, why a chicken bus? So these buses are actually like the old school buses from the schools in the United States. So whenever they don't work anymore, they're driven all the way from the United States to, in this case, Guatemala. And whenever they bring them, for example, here in Antigua, they change the engine. So then after they go like rockets, they paint them in super bright colors. And then after, like, basically, like, they become some of the public bus way here in Guatemala. So if you arrive here to the chicken bus station in Antigua, it's gonna be one of the most local experience that you can actually get. But let's continue in our orientation walk. So as we're talking before about some foodie moments, let me go with my favorite coffee in the city. Okay, let's start saying that Guatemala is the 10th biggest producer of coffee in the whole entire world, okay? And Antigua, particularly because of the altitude and the weather conditions, it is one of the best spots in the whole country to grow coffee. And actually on all around the hills here in Antigua, like there's plenty of coffee farms, okay? So in here in Café El Refugio, actually they have their own beans. They roasted themselves right there. Okay, so you can get like, if you're gonna go like the locals, you can get like this amazing black coffee. Okay, so let's continue with let's continue with our foodie moments, because we are about to arrive to my favorite foodie moment of the tour. That is La Casa de las Sopas. Okay, so what can you guys find here in La Casa de las Sopas? You can find the two main traditional dishes of the whole country of Guatemala, okay, which are the chicken pepian first, okay, which is like a chicken stew that comes, like, it's cooked with different veggies and spices, comes with a side of a rice in a traditional pot. It is absolutely delicious. Okay, and then after as well the beef hilachas. Okay, so the beef hilachas, it's pulled beef, okay, cooked with different kinds of veggies and different spices as well. One of those is called achiote, okay, which is a very important seed here for Guatemala, and actually as well for the Mayas back in the days. They would use it for cooking, as well for dyeing the different kind of textiles in a natural way, and actually as well for rituals, as it serves as a body painting. Okay, it has this super bright red color. Okay, so if you guys go to Casa Las Sopas, you're gonna be able to have a delicious traditional dish. They're gonna treat you like as you would be at home, and it's as well very affordable. Okay, most of dishes go on something similar than $5. So if we continue, and now that we are talking about foodie moments, let's go with why not a dessert, right? It is important to say that the chocolate was discovered by the Mayas, okay? Like the first evidence of chocolate actually dates in the 600 AC. In the very beginning, it was considered a drink from the gods, okay? And it was just for the elite. But then after it became so important that actually whenever the Spaniards arrived, they discovered this drink, they gave them their different style, and actually it was even not just in Guatemala, in some other countries in Central America, it can even became a local currency, okay? So they like traded with the cocoa beans, okay? So it became super important with the time. So for the sweet lovers, guys, this is the spot. Okay, anything that you can imagine chocolate, you can find it here in the Choco Museum. And as well, for those that are very into it, you're able to do like a chocolate lesson. So you're gonna be learning about the history of the cocoa here in Guatemala and Central America. You're gonna be able to do your own drinkable chocolate the way the Mayas did it, and as well then after the way the Spaniards did it, so then after you can compare them, and you're gonna be able to take your own chocolate tablets. How amazing is that, okay? But let's continue with our orientation walk, okay? Because we're going to be arriving to the most iconic spot of the whole Antigua, okay? Which is the Santa Catalina Arts. And actually definitely the spot that appears in more brochures and in everything related probably to Antigua, okay? And as well, obviously, the place that most people like to take a picture with, okay? But what not many people knows is the Arts of Santa Catalina actually has a story behind, okay? So the Arts of Santa Catalina was built because it would connect two different convents that were on the side of the street. One of the sides of the convent, it was where actually the cloistered nuns would live after the school, okay? So for being able to go from one place to the other as they did a vow of seclusion, they couldn't be seen in public, okay? So that art actually worked as a food bridge, okay? So the nuns would go from one place to the other. As a little fact, well, it was like a building in 1694, but that clock right there, it is not the original one, okay? It is actually from the 1800s, okay? So it was done afterwards. So if we continue, now I would love you guys to take a look to this little shop right here, okay? Which is actually a wine shop, okay? It's one of my favorite spots to have just a chill moment, to have a very good, nice and conversation here in the city, okay? And actually, like whenever you're going there, you're gonna be able to try like local wines and wines from all over the world. But as well, what it is very catchy is their marketing technique, okay? So basically, the more glasses that you get, the cheaper it gets, okay? So like each glass comes with a bigger discount. Interesting, right? We're going to be arriving to our last stop of the orientation walk. But first of all, I would love to tell you that here in the Plaza de la Merced, in actually right here, you guys are able to find on weekend times the most delicious street food in the city, okay? So once again, for the foodie lovers, you can try here, for example, the tostadas, which is like a hard corn tortilla with different kinds of toppings. Amazing. Okay, and then after as well in here they have my favorite dessert from Guatemala, which is the rellenitos. What is the rellenitos? It's actually a plantain paste that they cook. And then after inside there's like either beans or refried beans. I know that it sounds crazy, it actually is, but it is amazing, okay? It's delicious, okay? So like for those that want to embrace it, and actually in Gadventures we love to embrace the bizarre, that is some of the things that I would never miss out. And once again, in a very, very affordable way, okay? So actually, as we are talking about bizarre places and our foodie moments, let's go with our last foodie moment of the tour, okay? So right there, that's a little door which actually says shop on the top, okay? That shop belongs to La Canche, a very, very famous character here in Antigua, okay? La Canche is a lovely old lady from Antigua. And actually, what is interesting from this place, it definitely looks like a grocery store, and that's what it says on the entrance, right? But if you just cross the counter, it is a little restaurant, okay? So you can go there. There's actually just 2 tables, and then after there's a lady cooking like 3 dishes each day, okay? And this is the place where you're going to be able to try some of the most bizarre foods that you can try in the whole city, okay? So I would definitely recommend that to try the pacaya, okay? So the pacaya is a flower that actually grows in some of the hills near to Antigua. It's a bit bitter, and they cook it with eggs, okay? But it's definitely very special, okay? Not everywhere you can get to try, okay? So that would be the pacaya. So as we were saying, we're going to be arriving to our last stop of our orientation walk inside of Antigua, which is the Church of La Merced. So La Merced Church, actually, it is one of the most beautiful facades of the whole city, okay? Like, you can definitely tell the Baroccan style here, actually known as Baroccan Antigueño, okay? So this church was built in 1749, and it took 18 whole years to be fixed, okay, as you can tell. Still nowadays is one of the most famous churches. Like, there's masses almost every single day, and as well as host for many weddings. But I wanted to tell you guys about this church because it is a very important as well point of celebration for the Holy Week in Antigua, okay? So the Holy Week in Antigua, it is definitely the biggest event of the year, okay? In Easter times. So there's 2 important symbols in there, okay? Just picture that for the Holy Week, guys, here, there's thousands and thousands of people that gather from all over the world, okay? So something that's a signature from the Antiguan Holy Week, it is the alfombras or carpets, okay? So what are these carpets? Actually, they're set all over the floor where the processions then after will pass by, okay? And then after they're done with light blossom, fresh colors, and as well, very colorfully dyed sawdust, okay? So it's such a spectacle to get to see them. And then after as well, like, it's incredible and breathtaking to get to see like all the different communities and associations of the city carrying these super heavy structures. So they go from the left to the right, carrying these like tons and tons, kilograms in their shoulders. Okay, so actually, just to imagine the dimension of this festivity, for example, on Friday, which is the big day of the Easter celebration, like they start the procession at 6 a.m. and it goes till 3 a.m. Yes, guys, almost 24 hours of celebration and procession. It is absolutely outstanding. For those that want to see Antigua in the biggest exponent, definitely the Holy Week, it is the best time. But as a reminder, it gets very, very busy, so it's not easy to get on a spot there. And just to finish our orientation walk, I will love to tell you guys about the best viewpoint of the whole city, okay? Which is called Cerro de la Cruz, okay? So Cerro de la Cruz is like around 20 to 30 minute hike, depending on your pace, okay? But it is the only spot where you're gonna be able to see the whole city in front of your eyes, okay? And as well surrounded by the 3 volcanoes. Well, so this was all. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this virtual orientation walk of one of my favorite spots in the whole planet, okay? And I hope that you guys have a wonderful day and see you soon. Ciao!